Well, I remember when you had a textile mill, and
I tried to forget it.
the textiles aren't really just congealed electricity the way modern technology works. And the TVA rates were 60% lower than the rates in New England. It was an absolutely hopeless hand, and you had the sense to fold it.
25 years later.
Well, you didn't pour more money into it.
No, that's right.
And no, recognizing reality when it's really awful and taking appropriate action just involves often just the most elementary good sense. How in the hell can you run a textile mill in New England when your competitors are paying way lower power rates?
And I'll tell you another problem with it, too. I mean, the fellow that I put in to run it was a really good guy. And I mean, he was 100% honest with me in every way. He was a decent human being, and he knew textiles. And if he'd been a jerk, it would have been a lot easier. I would have probably thought differently about it. But we just stumbled along for a while, and then, we got lucky that Jack Ringwald decided to sell his insurance company, and we did this and that. But I even bought a second textile company in New Hampshire. I mean, I don't know how many, 7 or 8 years later. I mean, I'm going to talk some about dumb decisions. Maybe after lunch we'll do it a little. And it is incredible how many dumb decisions we made. Charlie and I bought that, and Sandy Gottesman, we bought that department store, and that was 1966. And we were working with our own money, and why in the world did we think? And Charlie flew to Baltimore, and I mean, we used to really work in those days. There again, we had wonderful people. Lewis Cohen couldn't have been a better guy, but everybody in that business had a different reference point. They wanted to expand their company. Well, who can blame them for that? And they were planning a couple of new stores, and each department, the shoe department, said, "Well, we'll do it better this time," and all that kind of thing. But the whole idea was crazy, and we got there for a little while, and we figured it out finally. And
we reversed course.
Yeah, but why the hell did we do it in the first place?
Well, because we were stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's important to realize. We paid $6 a share for that stock, and if the department store has succeeded, it might be worth $30 a share now, and it failed. So, but we did other things, and we merged it into Berkshire, and we'll talk about that a little later. And I don't know whether it's $150,000 a share now or something like that from the $6. So if it succeeded, we would have maybe made a few dollars, and because it failed, we made hundreds of thousands of dollars per share. But that's the way life is. You just keep going and
keep learning. That's the secret. Keep learning.
And you can say, why would it take guys that long to learn? Yeah, there we have it. Now, if you look at that, some people will see two faces. Some people will see a base. And some people will look a long time and only see two faces. But the mind flips from one side to another. And that's there's some name for it that they call it ambiguous illusions or something of the sort. There's other things that talk about aha moments, or in the old comic strips with Popeye, Wimpy would have a little balloon over his head and the light bulb would go on. There's this point where all of a sudden you see something you haven't seen. Well, it took me. I had an illusion that I was looking at. We'll say in that one, two faces. Let's go to the one labeled 2. And if you're looking at it from one side, it looks like a rabbit, and if you look the other way, it looks like you're looking at a duck. And the mind is a very funny place, and I think people call it an apperceptive mass. When you have all kinds of things going on in your mind, and they go on for years, and they sit there and get lost, and then all of a sudden you see something different than what you were seeing before. Now, it took me in stocks, which I was intensely interested in. I had a decent IQ, and I was reading and thinking, and important to me to make some money on it. I had every motivation in the world. And then I read a paragraph, actually, in chapter 8, I think it was, of The Intelligent Investor. And it told me that I wasn't looking at the duck, I was looking, now it was the rabbit, whatever it may be. And whether you call it a light bulb, whether you call it, a moment of truth, whatever it may be. And that's happened That happened to me in Lincoln. I mean, it changed my life. If I hadn't read that book, I don't know how long I would have gone on looking for head and shoulders formations and 200-day moving averages and the odd-lot ratios and a zillion things. And I love that kind of stuff, except it was the wrong stuff I was looking at. And I've had that happen, and Charlie's had it happen, I'm sure. It happens a few times in your life. And all of a sudden, you see something important that, why in the hell didn't I see this in the first place? Maybe it's a week ago, maybe it's a year ago, maybe it's 5 years ago, maybe it's learning how to get along with people. I mean, whether actually it's better to be, kind or not, or whether, I mean, they're just learning how to have, if you want the world to love you, what you have to do, or what it's, you know it when you see it, but you didn't see it for 10 years before. And I don't know whether Charlie's got some thoughts on that or not, but that's happened in a few situations in business where I've looked at a company for a decade, and then there's something that it just all gets rearranged in your mind, and you can say, well, why didn't I see this 5 years ago? But usually I've had it happen a few times, obviously, and everybody here has, and just in different areas of their lives. And you think, how could I have been so stupid? Well, that's what Charlie's, when he was in the law practice, he had a partner, Roy Tolles, and every smart guy that would get in trouble, usually it was guys, and usually it was with women, they'd come into the office and they'd look, down-faced and everything, and they'd say it seemed like a good idea at the time, I mean, and their lives unraveled, in many cases. So there is that apperceptive mass that's sitting in there inside somehow, and every now and then it produces some insight. It's better, actually, if it produces insight into your behavior than whether it produces insight to make money. I mean, and some people never get it, and they wonder whether their kids hate them, or whether there's nobody in the world that would give a damn whether they live or die. In fact, they prefer they die, because then they've been courting them for their art collection or whatever it may be. It just, Charlie would say, just write your obituary and reverse engineer it, and not a crazy idea. Charlie, I don't know, what do you know about apperceptive masses, which optical illusions?
Well, I know that that's the way the brain works, and that it's easy to get it wrong. And part of the trick is to get so you correct your own mistakes. And we've done a lot of that.
Yeah.
Frequently, way too late.
Yeah, we've done better with the mistakes than we have with the reasonably good ideas.
Well, it's so easy to overdo a good idea. That's what's going on now. You have a lot of good ideas that are being grossly overdone.